Muito boa tarde a todos. O meu nome é Pedro Lourenço, da BTOC Consulting. Eu vou ser o moderador deste painel sobre internacionalização, como, com quem e onde. Passo a chamar os nossos convidados. Se não se importam, esta apresentação vai ser feita totalmente em inglês, porque os nossos convidados, um dos nossos convidados apenas fala inglês, e então, para todos nós nos entendermos e seguirmos as apresentações da melhor forma, eu vou passar a fazê-la em inglês. So I will invite Ms. Luisa Pais, Lowe, please, to join us at the stage. She's the coordinator of the Diaspora Investor Relations Office of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Please, have a seat, please. Thank you for coming. And then I will ask Mr. Franklin Lowe, CEO of Reanda International, a Chinese network that is in the top 20 around the world. Please, Franklin, be my guest, please. So, this panel, it's about internationalization. So, how to do it, where, and with whom. This is what we are going to talk about it, and let's listen this our guests for this panel. I will start with Ms. Luisa Pais Lowe, that will give us some background and what Portuguese ministry is doing about the internationalization. Please, be my guest.
Thank you very much. So I work in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Portugal, specifically with business and the Portuguese communities. I would request, maybe I have brought you a slide, not 30 slides, but only one slide, which
I think they can put that.
Pretty much sums up what we do. So I'm coordinating a department called Gabinete de Apoio ao Investidor da Diáspora, an office to support the diaspora investors. What does this mean? Just think that 1/3 of the Portuguese live abroad. We have over 5 million Portuguese that don't live in Portugal. They live everywhere in the world. Actually, they're registered in 178 countries of the world, which is almost all of them. Yeah. And we the Portuguese are all potential influencers, communicators, facilitators. We have that in our DNA, if you will. Yeah. And so that means that if we have over 5 million Portuguese abroad, we have a major strategic asset that has been undervalued and underused. And we needed to work that, and to work that fast. Also, based on the growing economic conditions in our country. The situation in our country is getting better and better and more favorable to business, and you will agree with that. Yeah. And of course we are focused on foreign investment, bringing it to Portugal, attracting tourists. But what about the 5 million Portuguese who live abroad? They also are. Lots of them are entrepreneurs, they are business people in the countries where they live.
They already have the establishment of their companies and their lives.
So and a lot of them are looking at coming back to Portugal, or they retire early with savings and they want to continue to work. So did you know that 90% of the Portuguese who are abroad, when they come back to Portugal, or when they come back to invest in Portugal, they invest in their town.
Yeah, their hometown.
The hometown. It's amazing.
It's usually,
yes, and this is what we want to work with, because there's a major potential there. Yeah, and so, of course, being in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we are very closely connected with ICEP, which is our state agency for investment and trade, foreign trade, and also connected with other ministries that help facilitate investment in Portugal coming from our Portuguese abroad.
Yeah.
the Ministry of Finance, for
Yes,
instance, or the tourism of Portugal. So many, because we are trying to make investing in Portugal also more agile from the bureaucratic point of view. And if you're a Portuguese immigrant who's lived in France for 40 years, they don't know how it works right now, what laws are in force, what programs, incentives, subsidies are there to help him. So we are there to, our service is like an airport hub. People go there with their projects and then we forward them to the relevant entities that might help them.
Oh,
that could be the embassies and consulates of Portugal abroad, that could be other ministries, and that could be municipalities, câmaras municipais. They play a major role.
Of
if
course,
people want to invest in their hometown. No one better than their own mayors and their teams to help them.
And the services that you provide, it's receiving this Portuguese that are coming back home 40 years later, and then to invest in their countries and their hometown.
It could be those who come back, those who remain abroad but want to build something in Portugal.
Oh, okay.
Or also that's the more modern side of it, the mobility ones, the ones that commute. They live 1 year abroad, 1 year in Portugal, then they go back, they marry someone abroad.
Yeah, there's something common that happens today.
A modern group, if you want.
Our immigrants right now, what we feel and see, it's the fathers came back to their hometowns, but their sons already have marriage to someone there, not nature from Portugal, so they stay. So we have a mixed feeling. They want to invest on their hometowns, but there's still a family abroad that needs to be helped and lead.
But they can totally be binational or bicontinental because you can live abroad and have a business here.
Of course.
Nowadays it's very easy.
Yeah.
So I think the slide behind me pretty much shows what we do, and we also work the other way around because our Portuguese citizens abroad also have a potential for helping us promote Portugal. They are our best ambassadors. And I'm not talking about the Secretary General of the United Nations or Cristiano Ronaldo. Those are our top guys.
But also
everyone, Mr. Silva, who has a little shop in Paris, can also help tremendously.
Yes, we see that and we feel this every day because we have 9 offices around the world, and we see that Portuguese look for someone that speaks the same language to help them to restructure their lives when they go abroad.
Yes, and they can also help internationalize Portuguese companies or businesses. So and go beyond the mercado da saudade, go to the local international markets, and that's. And I think maybe I would say that for the accountants, I know that the Ordem dos Contabilistas Certificados have over, I don't want to make a mistake, but a few thousand members that work.
70,000.
Okay.
In Portugal,
But also over 1,000 abroad, I've heard.
Yes.
And they also can be a major help.
Of course.
Because they know the two business systems, the two tax
That's what
systems.
brings so many consultants across the borders, so mainly in Portugal-speaking countries, but nowadays in every country around the world, so we can be a good help also.
You can help Portuguese companies abroad open branches in Portugal, foreign companies, also help Portuguese companies wanting to internationalize, so there's a huge...
there's a couple of ideas that are growing inside Portugal in accounting offices and consulting. We from our side, we are restructuring a model service that is a Portuguese business task that will serve to receive international investors, but also Portuguese that are able to come back and invest in Portugal. So I see what service do you provide, and
of course.
I agree with them.
And we also organize, and I'll finish then, and I don't want to take up all your
course.
time. Just for you to know, we organize annual huge networking meetings in Portugal with hundreds of Portuguese business people that come from all over the world.
Oh, good.
And meet.
Awesome.
Yes, the next one will be in December.
Good.
In the center of Portugal. I'm not allowed to announce where it is yet, but you will know.
Okay. I will try to attend.
Please do.
Yeah,
and all of you are invited, of course.
Thank you. So I'm going to pass the word to Mr. Franklin Lowe. It's the CEO of Reanda. It's international Chinese international network that today is on the top 20 of the world. So, Mr. Franklin, please be my guest.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And also the example as quoted by Luis, no matter it's a transaction inbound or outbound, it's cross-border.
Yes.
So cross-border already talking about international. So for an international network, we look for the services to help those multinational clients, no matter these are small traders, an investor from overseas, they want to repatriate the fund back to their hometown. It's already cross-border. And so right here, in fact, there's certain kind of technical issue.
We have a problem with the Mr. Franklin presentation, but if you can present the history of the brand and how you promote Reanda to other countries and became this success network that we already have the pleasure to know.
Yeah, my pleasure. Well, let me introduce what it's all about, Reanda. Reanda is a name of our founder firms in China, the key member firms in China. And well, internationalizations, as I explained, we look for to service our multinational clients in China. And because they already have their footprint in various countries, and particularly those very well-known state-owned enterprise in China and very big private enterprise in China, they already have the investments more than 100 of countries outside China. And therefore, Reanda, our key member firm in China, they want to hold fast and to, at the back, is talking about the continuity of business.
Yes.
So if they just look at their home country in China and forget to follow the business flow, forget where will the money to go, and just look at the local market, we will definitely fall into a problems of continuity in business. And that's the reason behind, if you want to stay continuance in your business, you need to think about the world now is getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, we have to follow the flow that we heard about this morning. Yeah, you have to follow them.
Absolutely. Yeah. And well, about the history of Reanda China, the name, again, as I explained, this is exactly the name of our China firm, Reanda. Yeah. So if you browse to your handphone, you will find Reanda, and this is a very famous CPA firm in China. And we have our network back to 2010. And we launched our network in 2010. At the very beginning, we have only 7 member firms. And up to now, we have already 35 member firms in the world. And we're going to have 40 member firms by the end of this year, and target to have 50.
Yeah, huge growth of the network.
A very huge pressure on my shoulder. Okay, well, myself, I also take care of CPA firms in Hong Kong. And you know, Hong Kong is part of China. And therefore, when we set up our network, although the headquarters in Beijing, but they choose Hong Kong as the socket, as a hub, to get connect with various CPA firms all over the world.
Okay.
So this is how we form our network. And a little bit history about the CPA firms in China. If back to year 2000, you may know all the CPA firms in China, actually they set up by the Chinese government.
Yeah.
I would say they are all state-owned back to year 2000. But afterward, after year 2000, all the state-owned CPA firms, they have to be privatized themselves.
Okay.
But about the history of Reanda, you may be astonished. Back to year 2000, there are 140 the very large state-owned enterprise. 1/3 of them actually was services by Reanda.
Okay.
1/3 of them. And amongst those famous ones, like China State Construction, like the Sinochem corporations,
Yes.
and China Metrological corporations, they are all Fortune 500s. And they all assisted by Reanda for listing in China. So you would imagine Reanda enjoyed a very kind of a renowned history in the past tense. But CPA firm in China, they're facing a kind of a challenge. They have to, first of all, when open up the boundary, a lot of Western business ran into China, and therefore the CPA firm from Western network, they also get into and penetrate into China.
Okay.
And because of this, a lot of CPA firm in China, they get married to the international network. And Reanda, I forgot to mention to you, actually they form under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Yes.
So that they have a very good relationships with the Chinese embassy system, and also have a very good relationship with the Ministry of Finance. But now certainly they are now already privatized and become 100% commercial.
Commercial, yeah. Okay.
But as I mentioned, because the Chinese enterprise, they grow so fast in the past 10, 20 years. Once they open up the boundary, they start to invest in overseas. And for those sizable Chinese enterprise, they invest in overseas. They not just invest in one country, but they simultaneously invest in so many countries. And therefore, these Chinese enterprise, when they go international, they did not find a Chinese CPA firm can service them, because there's no international presence for any of the CPA firm in China. So therefore, the challenge starts. Once you have so many state-owned enterprise like Reanda in the past tense, then when the business open up, they start to lose the clients.
Of course.
Because the clients, I mean the Chinese clients, go invest in overseas, they have to use the international network.
Yeah.
None of the CPA firm in China have this support. And secondly, they have another very rigid rule in China. All the state-owned enterprise have to rotate the audit every 3 years.
Every 3 years. Okay.
Every 3 years.
Okay.
So you will imagine, after 3 years, although you are a auditors of China State Construction, you hire them for IPO. You enjoy a long-term relationship, but you have to quit this relationship every 3 years. Yeah. And the audit will be go on open bid. Once you go on open bid, definitely international network can win this bid, because they have overseas presence. But not Reanda, sorry. Therefore, it explains to you why the Chinese CPA firm, they have to make up their mind. Back to year 2010, we are the first one from China to start to think about set up international presence.
You go after the clients. You are following the clients.
Exactly. Yeah. We have to follow the business flow. We have to follow where the money is going. And certainly we have to look at the Chinese, look at the government policy. Very important.
But you don't invest directly on the countries. You look for partners.
You are right.
Explain it to me.
Imagine if we invest to acquire a CPA firm in a country, First of all, you may not allow to do that. In a country, they have their protectionism. They may not allow a foreign investor to own a CPA firm in a country.
Okay.
We can only have a kind of a cooperation through a membership agreement.
Yeah.
So this is the big hurdle. Secondly, if you own a CPA firm in a country, if this is a sizable CPA firm, you have to think about the cost to you. Could be very expensive.
Very expensive, yeah.
Unless you have
huge investment.
huge, unless you have a billionaire to support yourself. Otherwise, you easily to drain all your resources.
Okay.
And to have an internationalization ourselves, we have to at least save over 40 or 50 presence globally. Otherwise, this is not good enough to service those MNCs.
Okay.
So this is the answer. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I continue.
Yes, please.
I just mentioned about the two hurdles that the Chinese CPA firm they need to think seriously to have an international presence. So that's why we are here. And about our structures, as I already explained, I operate a CPA firm in Hong Kong, but headquartered in Beijing. And therefore, our head office in Beijing, they are so smart, and they understand they need to take the advantage of the Hong Kong because we use international law.
Yeah.
And even we, a Hong Kong people, we have a passport. We easily to go to everywhere. Need not to have a very much concern to apply a visa. So we have a niche to set up a socket in Hong Kong.
That's why Hong Kong is the geography that
one
they
country,
choose.
two system is still really work. Don't worry on that. And this is definitely a very perfect proof. Continuously, one country, two system in Hong Kong is a very good model to help a business like the CPA to go international. Okay, let me see. Presently, because we grow to 35 members, and already we have a high concentrations in Asia, so somebody else will, when they look into Reanda, they will consider we are Asian brand. And already we have more than 10 presence in Europe, EU. And we have also 5 members in Africa, Middle East region, the Manasa regions. And therefore, whenever in a continent we have 5 members, we set up a regional precedence.
Okay.
The purpose is to enhance the communications.
Get closer to those countries. Okay.
We are in Far East. Sometimes as long as we have a regional precedence to representing Reanda to listen to what the latest move in a continent, this is the best strategy. So now we have the EU precedents, we have the ASEAN precedents, and also we have the Asia precedents, and already we accumulate the number of member firms in Africa. So sooner or later, as long as we have 5 members or above, we can create a regional precedence
for Africa.
in Africa. I also touch on important features for Reanda. We listen. We always observe the government policy. So maybe most of the press, the audience in here, they heard about the Belt and Road, Belt and Road. So this is a policy announced by the Chinese government back to the year 2013. So, but remember, we rolled out our network already in 2010, and therefore, when we look back in the year 2013, we all of a sudden realize, hey, Reanda actually already have the directions exactly matching with the Belt and Road.
Yeah, you already have the offices.
Yes, well ahead of the message from the government.
Oh, good.
Therefore, we continue to enhance our presence along this Belt and Road. Make sure, again, to capture the business interflow, capture the money flow, and also listen to the government policy. Very important.
Just to a question, Franklin, a practical question. When you have an inquiry for a company that is your client in main China or other office in China, that not yours, do you send the inquiry to all the network, or is based on the country where the client will invest?
Okay. This is talking about the marketing strategy.
Yes, yes.
Okay. I believe the businessmen, they are very wisdom. And they will look for the best service agent for them.
Okay.
And if they find their present auditors not able to serve them well, they will seriously to consider alternative solution to them.
Okay.
So what we do is not going to send or tease any clients from now with servicing by another service provider.
First, yeah.
We focus ourselves to have the qualities of ourselves. And quality, later I will further elaborate on that. We want to have a pretty good and decent presence over the world, so that, as I explained, the MNC will feel Reanda can help to resolve the cultural difference.
Of course.
Cultural difference, very important.
Yeah.
Chinese, I would tell you, a lot of boss, they in the high ranking, they not good in English. They very seldom to find a boss that can speak Portuguese language. But with a presence in Portugal in here, and if they also invest in different Portuguese language speaking countries, and Reanda connect those quality CPA firms in various Portugal language speaking countries. Bingo, we can already draw the attention of these clients, seriously consider Reanda.
Yeah, and it's a big asset, our language.
Very important.
Portuguese language is a huge asset in nowadays, and even as we can see, even to Chinese entrepreneurs and companies that will want to invest in our countries. Yes. It's a good asset and a real asset that we are not using maybe the correct way, but I think we have to invest more and more.
That's true. And now, although we are not big, we're a young network, but we feel ourselves already reached to a certain critical mass.
Yeah, of course. The
meaning is, just go back to my message, the quality. If we continue expand with 100 members, but we are not able to rein our members to look at their quality control, we have no difference with a business club.
Yeah.
In and out. So Reanda, we have a feature, one country, one members, so that we pool all our resources to a single members, make sure all our 30, another 34, because we have 35, so that we will convert all the 34 resources into one members.
Oh, okay.
But we need to find a correct members carefully, and we make sure we find a right door-to-door CPA firm to work together.
Okay.
And in order to make sure we continue to have this relationship, we have to provide a global monitoring procedures to make sure all our member firms can output at a similar qualities and at the same page. Otherwise, you can imagine a MNC, the CFO, when he have, say, 30 investment in 30 countries, and if this network not able to provide, to synchronize the service,
the same standard,
he will have a disastrous situation, particularly by the end of this FE financial year, and he have to deal with 30 different, honestly, CPA firms, CPA is not a person easily to deal with.
Of course.
We are a difficult person.
Yes, we are.
So, a network, this is our duty. to make sure we are on the same page.
On the same page. Good. It's like the service that Luisa provide. They come with the Chinese investors, and you are trying to keep up the Portuguese investors.
And learning some new strategies from Frank.
Good.
Louis,
We always learn.
we are just sharing.
Yes, but yes, we pretty much want to attract investments from our Portuguese abroad.
Of course.
And also to ask for their help in promoting Portuguese initiatives in international markets.
Can you give us a small example of
Sure, yeah.
one company one project or something, please?
Yes, we work with, this is an important element, we only work with micro and small investment.
Okay.
Because for the medium-sized investments, for the huge ones, we have lots of agencies, but this particular segment was not being covered properly. So we focus on the micro business, really. So we have this entrepreneur in Long Island, New York State, USA, who is building a hotel in Anadia, in the center of Portugal. Yeah, using an old house he inherited from his family, and then he's approaching the retirement age and asked why not open a hotel there. Okay. It's a good example. We have the California agriculture, the Portuguese who Portuguese guy who came from California, where he learned agriculture and specifically how to grow almonds. Oh. And now he's doing it in a farm in Alentejo. These are great success stories.
Yes.
Or inversely, 80% of the Portuguese who live in São Paulo, Brazil, are from Trás-os-Montes.
Yeah.
So we are working with an association in Trás-os-Montes that exports olive oil and other food, which
products,
is products from this region, from Trás-os-Montes, and they sell them in Brazil.
Okay.
And through the Portuguese who live there to the Brazilian market.
But you help them to...
Yes, we put them in contact with the Chambers of Commerce in Brazil, the Portuguese-Brazilian Chambers of Commerce, through our consulates and embassies, and then they fly by themselves because we just give a little push. We orient to go and talk to this entity, go and ask there, and we match even companies with each other. Oh, this guy could help you, and then we are there for information, for support, but we want them to fly on their own because that's what business is like.
That's good examples of good.
And these people are amazing. They have extraordinary life stories. They emigrated, or their parents emigrated in poverty, looking for better living conditions, and they come back in success and proud of. We should be proud of our Portuguese abroad. This is also a narrative that has to be changed quickly.
Yeah. I agree with that. Listen, I agree. So, Franklin, when you have contact with your clients, when they are feeling to invest across abroad, how do you give them the support? Do you tell them how and where? Do you alert to some opportunities? Do you tell them, go meet with this office, they will help you to invest in this country? Do you do that?
Well, all depends. The questions how the clients raised. Certainly nowadays the regulators do not very happy to see the accountant to participate in the management decisions. But honestly, clients always want a clear message from the accountants. But go back to your questions. If a client's approaching the head office, Reanda, they want to look for an immigration program into EU.
Okay.
What we have to do is to call upon our EU members, like from Portugal, Cyprus, some of the countries in the EU, and let them have their prepare in advance the features.
So you put them in contact with the local officers, and they can manage the approach.
Yes.
Okay.
and let the clients decide first, because they have a lot of reason behind, not just on the features or the benefits offered by different countries, but many other factors affecting their decision. Then if once they have a decisions, we can ask our member firms in a country to talk directly with them.
To them. Okay. Thank you, Franklin. So we have more or less 5 minutes. I will ask you both to send a message to our colleagues, accounting colleagues that are listening to us, how they can help their clients to feel free and stable and confident to internationalization, and who and when and where they have to go to start that kind of investment. First,
Well,
Luisa, please.
That depends on the project, of the size of it, of
course.
the nature of it, and on whether the Portuguese community abroad can really play a relevant role in that. But I think there's always room for a lot of business done abroad and brought to Portugal. And I would say that it is important to learn English, to learn another
Of course.
language, and to be able to know other countries' tax systems, business cultures, which are so different, and sometimes
Yes.
a good business
And
is
the accountant
stuck
could be
on
a
these
good friend.
differences. Yes, and also we can be good friends in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and in
Good.
ISEP
It's
and
good to
in
know.
GAID, and our embassies and consulates are also there to help. Many of them have trade and business counselors working locally and connecting locally. So.
Thank you, Luisa.
Yeah.
Franklin, please.
Well, my message is quite simple. I'm quite sure that for SMP, they need network as well. Don't think about network is something that the big structures only apply to the sizable firm, but actually SMP need the networks. In Hong Kong, in China, always our institutes to call upon all the SMP to get in touch with the CPA firms from other countries, so that they see no matter the size of our clients, your clients always need cross-border transactions. And second advice, as I repeat already, look at to follow the business flow, and also understand the cash flow, where the money going. And thirdly, understand the government policy. It will help you to build up the network.
Yeah,
Of course,
absolutely.
of course.
Yeah.
It's usually you usually internally provide doing business for each countries, or you try to put directly in contact, don't promote the countries. How do you do it, Franklin?
We do from time to time. We ask all the member firms to prepare doing business in a country of
Because
themselves.
it's a good manual to guide the investors.
Yes,
So,
this is a marketing tool
okay.
to leave a piece of comfort to
Of course.
your clients that within the network we have quality CPA firms to service us.
Okay. Good. Good.
Yeah.
Lisa, do you have any program on these days, new programs to receive the investors or
Yes.
to promote?
Well,
Can you
yes.
talk a little bit,
The
please?
Portuguese government has just approved a program called Programa Regressar
Okay.
to attract people to come back and invest in Portugal. Well, it not only invest, but to come back. There are several dimensions to that program.
Okay.
Portuguese wanting to return to Portugal will have tax benefits for the first years. They are
Individually
here.
or companies?
Both,
Both?
yes,
Okay,
but
okay.
individuals will have their travel and family travel paid for,
Okay.
and the transport of their goods to a certain amount.
And
They
you
will
do all
have,
the support for this?
It is actually divided with the Ministry of Labor
Okay.
and with and Employment, and also with the Ministry of Economy,
because it means to integrate the
yes, it's a
okay.
lot of different dimensions. Also,
Okay, I understand.
there's a credit line that has just been approved,
Okay.
which will will lend money to small investors at very favorable conditions. So to help them start or restart a new life in Portugal.
It's good to know.
Yes.
So I will ask you the final notes, please, because we have 1.5 minutes to end. I don't know if someone from the audience can do questions. I don't think so. This panel will not allow that. So, Franklin, any final notes about the Congress and this panel?
Yeah. Well, I'm so pleased that for the panel here offered this wonderful opportunity to let the CPA firms in Far East to understand the demands in here. And we see already you create tremendous and wonderful demand among the countries in the Portuguese language speaking country, and we understand each of the country, they also have that demand to get in touch with other countries. So it further enhance our wishes to get connect with the Portuguese language speaking country and find all the quality CPAs and certainly the other professional advisor in here.
Good.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you
so much.
Thank you. Luisa, please.
Well, I would highlight the importance of networking. I think it was present in all of our statements, and to be connected is really what we should all do to go forward. And I'd like just to add that the Portuguese language you're right, it has to be seen as a global business language more and more. It is also a very important asset that we need to promote. It will be spoken by, we estimate, 500 million people in a few decades.
Yes.
So
we really have
to and to make it it will always be our language, the language of our ancestors. There's this emotional side to it, and we want children of Portuguese abroad to continue to learn it and speak it. But we should also teach it to third country nationals, because
of course.
It is also in the benefit of our culture and our economy.
It's needed, because we are receiving a lot of foreigners.
Yes.
So, thank you for coming. I think we enjoy a lot to hear from you and your ideas. We hopefully to see you again next time, and I think a salve of applause for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So we will end. I think we let the message come and go to invest wherever you want. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Muito obrigado a todos.